So as you can see, as you heard before, we're gonna talk about the wolves today. Wolves are the one of our mine and our in association main topics to research. And on this movie, you can see right now, this is a recording from camera trap we took in Carpathian Mountains in Poland, where is our association's headquarters, and this wolf pack is live just around our houses. Okay, but maybe let's start from the beginning. Our preconceptions about wolves get from I'm talking about humans all over, get from myths, from cartoons, from books, and in all these situations, wolves were always the black characters. So we, in the beginning of the research, when researchers took a research on the wolves which was closed in the closure in the zoo gardens, they saw there was the wolves. It looks like the wolves fight for the lead to have a right for breed. So they start to talk about the alpha male and alpha female, these are the strongest wolf in the pack, and they are only these wolves can breed in the pack. Is it true? I will try to show you and talk about in the next slides. But before, I'm sorry, I cannot switch the slide. Okay, but to get knowledge about wolf, about any animals you study, you have to do a research. You have to study the animals. And how do we study wolves? So there are a few methods we are using. One of the oldest methods is tracking, and for me it's one of the most amazing and most interesting method to do, because you have to spend a lot of time in the field following wolves, looking for tracks, looking for resting places, looking for marking spots, and so on. So you have to spend a lot of time with these animals in the field, and also collect the data during this tracking. Another methods, of course, you can do it along track is a prey analysis. If you find a prey, wolf prey, you can see how big the animal was, which country, maybe it was already in journey before a kill or something, maybe it was ill. So you can know that if there was a big prey, big kill, that means wolves were really, that there has to be a strong pack. Not the lonely wolf, for example. The lonely wolf has much more problems to hunt the prey than the whole pack, of course. Telemetry, that's one of the newest method in the research. We started telemetry on animals in 90s or last century, and we began with the classic radio telemetry. That means that in the collar, in the animal collar, there is a VHF transmitter, which is sending radio signal for all the time. And the researcher with special antenna, like this on the picture here on the right, side picture can find the signal in the field, somewhere in the field, and he can distinguish the place where wolves exactly are. But this is a really difficult method, especially in the mountains, because the signal can be broke when animal will hide somewhere in the valley or behind the trees. Anyway, in beginning of the 21st century, where GPS system become more popular for humans, for example, in your mobile phones, you all have a GPS system in your mobile phones. You can track yourself even. So the same system is now, you can find now in the telemetry collars. There is a GPS unit which is getting the GPS coordinates of an animal. In our case, with our system, is getting these coordinates every hour, and then after 8 to 10 such positions, is sending to us a pack of data via SMS message. So now the tracking is much easier because you don't have to go to the field even to track the wolves, and it's easy because and it's much easier for us now because we have collared wolves and lynxes, of course, in many places in Poland. We have some animals collared near our houses, which we can visit every day, but we also have wolves collared like 600 to 700 kilometers from our base. So with this GPS telemetry, it's much easier to get data from these animals because we don't have to go so many kilometers to track an animals every day. That we wasn't able to do that even with this radio telemetry before the GPS system. Another method, genetical analysis. We can get a genetical sample from wolf scat, from the urine, from blood, of course from the muscles and so on. But to get a sample from a wolf, you actually don't have to catch this animal. You don't have to touch the animal. You just have to look for a fresh scat, fresh urine, or so on. And you can get a lot of data from this base. Camera trap, probably most of you know how they work. This is really good system. You can leave such automatical camera in the field for few weeks, even few months. And the most important thing is that the animals are not afraid about the camera. Because if you will try to stay in the field with your camera for a long time, of course, you have to spend many hours. And even then, if you are able to record an animal, you'll be, animal can smell you and just escape. But in the case of cameras, you can get a really good recordings of the natural behavior of an animals, and camera is working 24 hours, 7 days per week. So it's recording even during the nighttime using the infrared light. And all the movies, all the clips, video clips you're gonna see during this lecture, there are recordings from our camera traps. So thanks to all this research, we did, and we still are doing. We get a lot of information about wolves, and we're still learning, of course. The most important information that is that on this drawing you saw on the like as a first slide during this lecture. This is just a drawing. Of course, there are fights between wolves, but there are no fights in the pack. Not like this, because wolves are social animals. That means they live in groups. They live in family groups. Exactly in the same way like humans. And of course, to start a new group, to start a new pack, we need two unrelated animals, a wolf pair. So somewhere in the field, there's a male and female. They have to meet somewhere on their way, and after the meeting, they start to spend a lot of time, almost all the time together. Like it looked like a little bit testing, like the partner and is testing another partner. They spend a lot of time together. They do even such things like massage, as you can see here. And if the massage was correct, that we have a beginning of the wolf pack, beginning of the wolf pair. And this is how they look like. In average, there are something like, there are 6 wolves in the pack, and at the head of the pack, there are the parents, the breeding pair, and all the wolves in the pack, those are their kids. Are yearlings, sometimes 2 years old wolves, and of course pups. There's a really rare situation that another unrelated wolf is joining the pack. It's not easy way to join the pack. There are some exceptions, but it's not easy. Of course, each pack has their own territory, where they hunt, where they raise the pups, where they have a dance for pups, and they use this territory really intensively during the whole year. Of course, in the wolf, where we have 2 wolf packs as neighbors, there are like really restricted borders between the wolf territories, but I will show you a little bit later how it looks like in the field. So in Poland, in average, I'm not sure if for you it's better to talk in kilometers or in miles. So I'll put it in the miles, but I will talk in kilometers so you can connect. So in Poland, the average wolf size of the wolf territory is in mountains, it's about 200 square kilometers. In lowlands, there's more than average, of course, more than 300 square kilometers. So as you can see, they need a lot of space to live. And on this slide, you can see a lot of red dots. These red dots are the localization, GPS coordinates, GPS localizations of the wolves from the cola we get. And to check how big is the territory, there's a method named minimum convex polygon. You can just connect the dots with of course with some lines, and everything what's inside this figure you get, this is a wolf territory. And in this case, this territory was 330 square kilometers. And at this time, in this wolf pack, there was 5 wolves. So you can see that in such big piece of land, there were only 5 wolves lived. Comparing to humans, you can see here, this is a Warsaw, capital of Poland, and this is the wolf territory. This red line, this is a wolf territory you saw before, and there was 5 wolves in such territory, and in here you have almost 2 million people in the same area. So you can see how big environmental needs has wolves to live. They use territory really intensive, and of course how they use the territory, it depends of the time of the year. There are difference between the mating season and of course the breeding season, especially in the case of a female. But on average, wolves can travel something like 25 kilometers per day. Usually it's per night, because the wolf activity, all the large carnivore activities, mostly during the night time. So they travel a lot. And they start hunting in the late evening, almost when there is dark, and then they do the marking and so on. And mostly during the daytime they maybe not sleep, but they rest. As I told you, they moved mostly during the nighttime, and this is a nice footage of the whole pack moving along the territory. As you can see, this recording is done in the nighttime with infrared, so there was no flashlight, nothing like this. Here you was able to see that the one wolf has something was injured with something was wrong with his one leg and one eye, and it happened really often to wolves because they hunt for much bigger prey than themselves are. So they have to, and of course they start the hunting when there's almost dark. So it's not easy to run in the thickets, in the young forests, following a prey when there's dark. Oh, sorry. Okay. Wolf has to communicate somehow between inside the pack and outside the pack with other individuals, unrelated individuals. So one of the method they communicate is a sense of smell. They mark territories, mark really important places by a different sense. There are scuds, urine, and scratching. So only the breeding pair is marking the territory, not all the wolves. Just the breeding male and breeding female are marking territories. And most of the scats you can find on the forest roads. And that's because on the forest road, the scat will be visible, it will be really good. It will be visible very good, and will be it's gonna smell longer than somewhere in the forest. Of course, you can find also scats of some high, like on the 40, 50, even 50 centimeters above the ground, on some stones and on logs or so on. Really similar with urine, but for us, for humans, we can find only the marking spot, the urine marking in the winter time when we have a snow cover, because we can find a yellow snow. But not only yellow snow, sometimes we can find a blood inside urine. And that's mean we are tracking at the moment female during the mating season. And this is a really good information after that. But as you will see on this picture, it's not really easy to decide how to mark the territory. Is it maybe pee on this side on this, or maybe pee on the other side? Or sometimes it's better to leave a scat. And as you can see, this is a really good footage done by camera trap. I'm not able to even imagine human with a camera waiting for such good recording. Of course, after that, scratching is really important. And that's the good way of marking some important places in the in territory. It's not only the borders of the territory are marked. There are some other places, like places where pups are, or maybe a prey was there was a kill that time, or maybe there's a water close, and so on. So as I told you before, that the breeding pair is marking, so they usually walk together and mark in the same places. So sometimes if you get a genetical sample from urine, for example, you can find the two individuals in one place, because male and female are marking exactly in the same points. In here, the first was the breeding male marking, then female came and marked, and again male came and do a marking again. And both wolves, female and male, are raising the hind foot during the scent marking. Another method of the communication between wolves is sound. Of course, all we know that the wolves howl, but not only howl, they can whine, the growling, squeaking, but wolves do not bark like dogs. They're using howling usually to communicate with other members of the wolf pack. And the howling can be heard by the other wolves, like from 10 kilometers even. Of course, everything depends on the terrain and the weather, but in good weather, quiet evenings, quiet nights, it can be heard for long distances. 90% of the howling is used to communicate within the pack, and it's because when parents are going for a hunt, and after they hunt something, they bring the food for kids, so they hold to ask young individuals to come and get something to eat. But, and of course, I'll tell you, the wolves howl mostly during the nighttime. Of course, there are some exceptions, usually in the summertime when we have young pups, because there's always one pup which can be lost somewhere in the forest. And the best way to ask for help or to find other pups or parents is to howl. But that's the only chance to hear the wolf howling during the daytime is when the young pup is howling. It's different with adults because they howl when they bring a food, as I told you before, for example, and this is such situation that is a male who bring the food for pups and is looking for the pups, can find them. So if you cannot find the pups, the best way is to howl and to ask them to come. And believe me, when hungry pups will hear the parents howling, they will get to this place immediately for food. Of course, sometimes wolves howl to communicate with unrelated wolves which are crossing the territory during dispersal. About dispersal, I will tell you a few words later on, but when there's a lone wolf who is on his way to establish a new wolf pack to find a mate, and he is crossing the wolf territory, sometimes this lonely wolf is howling and waiting for an answer. So usually, if he will get an answer, it won't be a really nice words from the other wolves, because they are not really they do not tolerate any other wolves on this territory. So I will ask you now. We'll do some exercise, maybe. Because I told you wolves are howling usually during the night time. So I will ask you to close your eyes, to feel like during the night with no light around, and I will let you to listen to whole wolf pack howling. So please turn on your speakers a little bit louder maybe at this time, and then in the chat you can write down your feelings. It will be really interesting for me what you feel doing that. Hope you're ready. So we are closing our eyes, and I will leave you with a wolf howling for another minute or two. Okay, we're back. So another question to you will be, can you count how many wolves were in this pack howling? It's not, I won't give you a mark for it, just questions. You can write in the chat if you have any ideas. Of course, I'll tell you later on how many wolves there were. Okay, let's go forward. Wolves has wolf sight is wolf can see really good, to be honest. They see they don't see all the colors, and then they don't see really sharp. Only during the night time they can see a little bit better than humans, because I think because of the sharpness. How wolves see, you can see on these pictures, and it can be interesting for all of you who has a dog, because dogs can see in the same way. So you can even do some test for you, or maybe you can check how your dog is seeing you. You can go to the website. The address is on the left hand corner, dogvision.com. You can upload your picture there, any picture you have, and you know how it looks like, and the software which is on the website will convert this picture in the way how it's seen by dogs and wolves. So it's like you can, it's really interesting. So you can do it later on, and you will see how your dog can see you and how wolves will be able to see you or your picture. Of course, wolves can communicate by the body language. And it's like a facial expression, tail movement, and posture. And again, if you have a dog and the dog is playing with you somehow, that's in the same way, the same expression, tail movement, like wolves when they communicate between themselves. So wolves breed only once per year, and the mating season starts in the middle of February and lasts for 2 weeks. I think it's in the middle of February because, you know, in the 14th of February there's a Valentine's Day, and everything starts there. So and this time, it doesn't matter if there's a whole pack or just the wolf pair. Only the breeding pairs spending time together, making a long distances along the territory, marking, really intensive marking, and hunting. All other wolves, if they are in the pack, are following them from the distance and then stopping beside the prey they kill, and so on and so on. And it takes about 2 weeks for the pair, the mating season. After 63 days, pups are born. They are born in the middle of April to the middle of May. It depends on the place. In the mountains, it's usually later on because in the April there's a still snow cover. So it's much more difficult to raise the pups in such terrain with a snow cover, of course. They rise in dens, and that's happened in the lowlands where we have a sandy ground, because wolf can dig a really long den. It can have like 6, 7, even more meters long. Sometimes they just take over the badgers or foxes dens. They kill, for example, badger, and then take over the den. Okay, I'm sorry, too far. Okay, the breeding male nurses pups for about 3 weeks. At this time, they are eating mostly milk, but also she moves pups from one den to another, because there's always more than one den in the wolf wolf territory, and it takes sometimes this move takes her more than an hour than to move one pup. If she have, like, for example, 8 pups, it takes her whole day to do this with pups. After a few weeks, they are really they grow really fast, so they can travel with mother later on. And mother is, of course, cleaning the den before they get into, and pups are, let's say, helping mother with all these things. It looks a little bit like in a human family, when mother tries to clean a room, and our kids helps. But what happened with the male when the pups are born? He's getting his when the pups are born and the female is staying in the den with the pups, the breeding male have his own things to do. This here on the map, you can see how the breeding may move during the mating season. So every dot, green dot, that's the GPS localization, and between the dots are 1 hour time, and the line between dots is the shortest way he can travel from the one localization to another. So as you can see, during the mating season, it was chaotic, but everything changed when the pups are on the, because as you already, I think, can see that here in the middle of this flower, there's a wolf den, where pups and breeding female stays, and father breeding male is doing only quick escapades for hunting, just going to the walk and bring food for. In the first days, he's feeding female, bringing food for female, and then for female and juvenile, and the pups, of course. So this is father of the family, and as you can see, this is a quite big wolf, and he at the moment he brings food for pups, but we cannot see any piece of an animal like a leg or anything else, because they bring the food for pups in the stomach. They can take at once about more than 7 kilograms of meat inside the stomach for pups and for the female. It's much easier to travel with a food in the stomach than to travel with a, for example, red deer leg through the forest for some few kilometers, of course. When pups has something like 3, maybe 4 weeks, they don't stay in the den anymore. They just stay in the thickets and wait for parents when they come with food. But not all the time female stays with pups, because as you can imagine, she also needs to rest a little bit. So at this time, when the pups are really young, there's yearling wolf, like older brother or sister, mostly the sister, which stays with pups and plays at the time when parents are hunting or are doing other things parents have to do. And for pups, it's much more interesting to stay with a older sister or older brother, because these young wolves still want to play, and it's much more interesting thing. There's much more interesting things to do with an older brother or sister. But later on, pups are left on their own, and this is really danger time for pups, because they're still stupid, and they really are interested in everything what is doing around. So they move on the forest roads, they move sometimes close to the forest workers, and that's not really safe. And pups do not hunt till they finish first year of life. To this time, they are parents and older brothers and sisters bring food for them. Why they do not hunt? It looks like a little bit like to take a kid to a supermarket. So when you go into the supermarket with your kid, you won't buy anything you thought before you have on the list or something, but you will buy a lot of things which are not really important to have at this time. So that's exactly how this looks in wolves. All the animals will escape from the pack if young ones will go for hunting, because they're really loud. And on this picture you can see that the pups found our camera trap. There was some damages on the camera trap when we found them. When we found the camera trap when we checked the camera trap in the field, done by these three little guys. But after wolves are become adults, like they have something like about 1.5 years old, they start her journey, the dispersion, to find a mating partner and to establish a new wolf pack, to find a new territory. And this journey can be really long. Not all these journeys are ending with success. In here you can see one of the wolves colored on German side. There was a pack which were transborder pack, Polish and German. On the German side, the wolf young male was colored by our colleagues, and after few weeks, I think 2 weeks with a collar, this wolf decided to start dispersion. And this blue line you can see is all the journey. So it takes this wolf cross whole Poland in not the easiest and the fastest way. Then get to the Belarus, from Belarus to Lithuanian, and again to the Belarus, and after that the signal from the collar just disappeared, and no, we don't know what happened exactly. Probably this wolf was illegally, it was killed, and the collar was damaged. But along this journey, in 3 months, this wolf did more than 1,400 kilometers. It's 900 miles. And we know that thanks to the collar, of course. But in Belarus, wolves were and still are hunted species, so there we lose any information about this wolf after that. Of course, I didn't tell you that in Poland, wolf is a fully protected species since 1998, and we have now really strong wolf population in the whole country, and all wolves disperse on the west or east, sometimes during the Carpathian way to the south. Exactly. Thanks to the genetical sample we have, we found out that the wolves from Western Poland dispersed not only to Germany, which wasn't a surprise, but also to Belgium, to Netherlands, and so on. Wolf as a as a carnivore, diet only on meat. And in Poland, the mainly food is mainly kill is the wild ungulates in Poland, the wild boars, red and roe deers, and of course mooses. And we also have native species like the fallow deers and sika deers, which are also in diet. But not only ungulates, only smaller animals are killed and eaten by wolves. Beavers, for example, European hare, and even mice and rodents can be killed by wolves and eaten. Wolves doesn't hunt every day. They hunt up in average every 3 days. It of course depends of the prey, how big was the last kill, because they are going back to the kill day after day and eat it again. They don't have to eat every day. Sometimes when they kill a big red deer or a moose, so they can stay with one prey for a longer time. If they kill, of course, if they kill, for example, 6 wolves can kill. If 6 wolves will kill 1 roe deer, which can weigh like 20 kilos, that's for the one evening, and that's it. Unfortunately, we notice every year we can notice attacks on livestock, and and that's the biggest conflict we have between wolves and humans, because usually, because especially the unprotected livestock can be really easy hunt by wolves. We have also some methods how you can protect the livestock, how the farmers and livestock holders can protect them. And if wolves will kill a livestock, they will get something like insurance from the government. It starts when the wolf become a protected species. Of course, wolves has natural enemies. We can say that, like disease, parasites, and especially the young ones are really can really easy die of the different disease or illness. And we know that the average 1 or 2 pups will survive the first year. There can be like scabies, parvoviruses, tick-borne disease, measles, and so on and so on. So all the illness which your dog can get, all the disease. But with dog, it's really simple. You can go to the vet and everything gonna be fine. But wolves have to take care of themselves in this way. In average, wolves live for like 6 years, approximately 6 years in the wild, of course. In the enclosures, in the zoos or so on, in the parks, they can live like dogs, like 14, 15 years, of course. Okay, this one of the worst thing for wolves is scabies. So here you can see wolf with this parasite, and it's really easy to catch the parasite from foxes or from other carnivores, young ones, smaller carnivores, and in the pack it can spare all animals really quick. And one of the myths about wolves says that where there's a one wolf which is sick or injured, that the whole pack can left him or even kill this wolf, because this wolf can slow down the pack. Of course, it's a myth, and it doesn't look like this. The pack won't kill this wolf because it's sick. Even more, this pack will hunt and bring the food for this, for example, for this wolf, like for a pups, to help him get better, and so on. Unfortunately, wolves are protected, as I told you, but however, some of them are still illegally killed by humans. Mostly they are illegal shooting by hunters, poaching, and sometimes pups are killed just by people in the forest. In road collisions, every year we have a lot of wolves on the roads. Usually is especially this wolves during the dispersal, because they during the dispersal they can walk for many miles per day. The longest journey during the one night that we noticed, that was 75 kilometers in one night by wolf. So these wolves can have to cross a lot of roads, and most of these roads are with really good quality, crossing forests, and they are not the highways, not the express roads. So these roads are not they can just get on this road. I mean, of course, not only wolves died on the roads, all the other animals or other species also, but we are focused on the wolves, so we know about a lot of such cases. Of course, there's one more problem. There's a hybridization that can mix with dogs, but it's really rare. It's really rare, and that's not a big problem, I would say. But it is possible, and sometimes, mostly when there's a poaching or illegal shooting, when there's no chance to get a new partner quick, sometimes wolf female mate with a dog. Okay, and just on the end of this lecture, I want to show you a journey of a wolf which was hit by a car near our capital, Warsaw, in Kampinos National Park. I will show you quick movie about it, but there are some writing in Polish, so I will explain you first how it looks like. After this wolf was found by the ranger from national park near the road, it was took to the vet, of course, and then it get to the rehabilitation center. for wild animals for 3 months. After the rehabilitation, after this rehabilitation period, this wolf was released back in the wild near the place where it was found in the Kampinos National Park. Stays there after release, stays there like 3 months, and then it was almost 2 years old male. So it was a wolf from the pack, one of the kids. And after that, after the 3 weeks, it started this wolf started special, went about 100 kilometers to another forest and stays there again for few months, and then went down went down south to the next big city in Poland called Wrocław, and then stays in this place, found a mate, and raised a pup last year. And now I'll show you on this journey a little bit on the movie. There is a music in the background, but I will also try to comment during this movie. Okay, so as you can see, that's the wolf, this male, after it was found beside the road near the national park. And here, after rehabilitation period, it was bring back to this forest district, to the national park, and released into the wild with radio telemetry collar, of course GPS telemetry collar. You can see this wolf was really happy after that, and after all his journey through the Poland, we also, thanks to the collar, we were able to find him with a mate and record this wolf in our camera trap in the forest. That's the mate, his mate. And last year we were able to record young pups playing on the sand. It was which father was this wolf. We named this wolf Kampinos. That's the name of this forest district for this national park there also. And here are these pups from last year. Okay, thank you for your attention. I'm really sorry for my pure English. Hopefully it was understandable for you.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions on it. But first of all, let me say what a fantastic set of films you've got. It's remarkable to have been able to capture so much of the behaviour of the whole life cycle, effectively, of the wolves. That was really, really wonderful. Thank you so much. Going straight to the question of of your camera footage. Alison asked to what extent are you able to identify individuals from their markings?
We can distinguish individual from the genetical sample, from scat, from urine, and thanks to the base we have already, we have base that there's more than 2,000 samples checked, so we can even connect this wolf with his parents and distinguish from where this wolf can come.
I'm very personally very interested in tracking as a phenomenon, as you are. So I was interested in all you said about tracks and stats. When you say that only the dominant, the breeding couple mark the territory, obviously the other animals must defecate and urinate. So I presume that means then that they just do it somewhere in the forest where you don't find it. Is that right?
That's exactly correct. They leave the scats or urine in the place where they stay and rest. So it's not a marking, but they still, and sometimes you can find such resting place for a whole pack with all the scats inside. And there was situation we have in the mountains. So in one thicket, we was able to collect 100 samples at the time, because a whole pack stays there for a long time. And when we're doing the diet analysis from scats, I haven't told you about it, but we can do the diet analysis from the scats. So we have to collect whole scats. So it's such thing is really important to find such place like resting place where a whole pack is.
Very good, thank you. And I was also wondering, when you say the father goes to hunt alone when the pups are with the mother, presumably then he can only take small prey. Is that fair?
There are still other adult wolves in the pack, which helps him during when the female is raising the pups, nursing the pups. So there are other like yearlings or 2 years old wolves, which helps him to hunt. And also, yes, of course, but for adult wolf, kill like 2 or 3, even 3 times bigger kill is not a problem.
And Andrew Mann has asked a question that I'm sure many of us in UK will be thinking. What was your opinion on the reality of reintroducing wolves in Britain?
Okay, I don't think it's a good idea in the shortest way. Because, there was a plan to reintroduce wolves in Scotland, where you have a lot of free-ranging sheep, and that's one of the main problems, because there are not such many other animals to hunt, but there's a lot of sheep, so there will be a lot of conflicts between carnivores and humans in that. So I don't think UK is ready for wolves now.
Kate M has raised an interesting question that in the UK, often these days we find foxes coming into towns to scavenge. Do the wolves in Poland come into towns to scavenge?
Sometimes where you can find the wolves near the villages which feed on something people left in the forest, but it doesn't happen like in case of foxes, because we have the same problem. No, maybe it's not a problem, but we have same situation with foxes here in Poland. You can find foxes in the city centers and so on. They really can really easy find the places to hide there. But it's completely different with wolves. It's not the same behavior. They live in families, so they stay with families outside. They're afraid of humans. So no, it not happen. If we have information that there is a wolf which is constantly coming near the people, that we know that something is wrong. Maybe this wolf is ill, or maybe this wolf is somehow domesticated. So we have to make an intervention in this situation. But it's really rare situation, really rare situation.
Okay, and of course, a lot of people are asking the question you asked us: how many wolves were howling on your recording? So, can you tell us the answer?
I can tell you an answer. There was 8 wolves together, and there was a breeding pair and 6 pups.
And there was one person who raised the question with regard to scabies. Is it possible to use medicine in a baited carcass or something of that sort to cure the wild wolf?
So this is a natural thing. So we are not. It's not ethical, we think, to enter in such way. They have to do the wolves will have to deal with it themselves. Of course, we are able to help wolves if there is a problem which was caused by humans, like poaching or road accidents. So we are able to help the wolves. We can try to take them to rehab centers, but not in the natural way. Ways like disease, parasites. No, this is we are not interfering with this.
Okay, thank you very much again, Michal, for your excellent presentation and also your excellent answers to all these questions.